Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for passing by and thank you for dropping in. So today we have some topics to touch on. So the borders on so many issues, especially the political and social, like you know. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not subscribed to our channel, while you be coming around, so please do that because by so doing, you'll be helping our channel to grow. You'll be helping this platform. So by helping this platform, you're helping a whole lot of you know people access to good information, quality information, and also to improve their social well-being. You know. So, but today we have to touch on an issue, most especially because it affects us. Like let me put it that way, like as Nigerians or as African students, or for those who are aspiring to study in the UK. So they are banned. They just put a ban on Nigerian students, I would say. So which we know that when they start something like this, it can also be extended to every other part of Africa because Nigeria has always been a threat to them as far as they are concerned. They always see Nigeria as a threat. So but for that, we don't have to get angry because it's their country. So that's the way I see it. I know a lot of people are angry right now saying, why would they be banning Nigerians for coming to the UK? So, but they just did. Is there anything you can do about it? If you think there's something you can do about it, please do. Because as far as they are concerned, they're not saying you. So whether it's your money or it's not your money, that's not the issue here. Because a lot of people will say, well, it's my money, so therefore, after all, they should allow us in. I've always said one thing over and over again, that these people, whether the colonial masters of Nigeria or whatever, the British or the England or whatever you call them, they love their own country and they care their own country and they care about their own country and they care about the interest of their own people. So, if you know what they know, then replicate it. You care about your own country, or at least let your leaders care about you and care about the country and the citizens. Then, therefore, you have more to say something. So now a lot of people are now very angry and, in desperation as at as to what is going to happen, as from 2024. So who know where we'll be by 2024? So why worry about 2024? Worry about now. So my simple advice would be, first of all, the children or the people that goes to school in the UK from Nigeria, from Africa, are not actually poor people. Because even the poor people actually cannot afford a normal education within the African continent or within their own country. Talk less of becoming an international student abroad. So because it costs a lot of money, to procure your visas and start to go abroad, at least you need maybe to go to a place like UK, maybe you need about 10,000 to 15,000 pounds, as the case may be. So you also have to go there and start to, strive, to survive. So, but for those who are bringing in their families, etc., so their families are given a working permit, so they can equally work and contribute to the economy of uh, of the country where they are in the UK, whether in Scotland, Ireland, Wales, or England. So that's the idea, and that has been what has been going on. So, and our people are actually hardworking, like you know. So most of these people who are coming to the UK to study, they're not coming. They are not first timers as far as education's education is concerned. Most of them have their first degrees already, or even second degree. So coming there, they see it as an opportunity to better their lives, or to come back to Nigeria or Africa with a better or higher degree, because it will also enable them or empower their CV, or boost their chances of getting a more qualified position. So that's the idea actually, and so far, so good. It has worked for some, while for some, they stay back in the UK for some reasons, either they fall in love with some people that they met there, and from there on, they start to, build their lives. So, but now, all of a sudden, the UK has come up with some things, or with a new policy or a new law that is banning these students from coming in with their families. It's not like it's banning the students from coming in. It's banning them from bringing in their families to come with them. So it's not like the UK is actually doing anything for these families. They don't support them for with anything, So, but maybe they need their space and things like that. So because they care about their own space and their own sanity, I would say, because I think seeing black people all around poses enough threat already. Talk less of black intellectuals or black intelligent black people from a country like Nigeria, which is purely black and blacker. So that is what they don't like. They might like some other ones where they have some miss here and there, but 90% of Nigerians are not miss. They are purely indigenous Africans. So you can imagine, at the knowledge base of Nigeria, the way Nigerians are craving for knowledge is so much that the whole world have been forced to reckon with. The US the other time opened its borders for Nigerian students. Same thing applies to so many other countries. And now even the UK just a few years ago, they did same. And now they are saying, oh, Nigerian students are coming, but don't bring your families. So, but my advice would be, if you are actually angry about this whole thing, why don't you vent out this anger on your own government back home there in Nigeria or in Africa to make your place better? When the government even refuses to pay the professors or the teachers at the universities and things, and all they do every now and then, you see that you see this ASU strike, every now and then you start to wonder, the reason why all of these things are happening is because, first of all, the people that are rolling you right now, they did not get that quality education. They don't know what education is about. Buhari, for example, was once a military man. He never actually went to school, but he just happened to find himself, coup after coup after coup after coup. He found himself in position of authority. He don't actually know the value of education. He don't care. I just read the other day now that the Minister of Education was saying that he never knew anything about the educational sector until he was appointed by Buhari. You can imagine that. Why we have professionals who knows much more about that very sector. And these same people were meant to work under that novice who knew nothing about the educational sector. So that's the kind of life we be living in that country. We live in a lie. Hadn't be, it was a president who went to secondary school in Nigeria, primary, secondary school, and university, first, second degree, and what have you, and PhD. Wouldn't he know the value of education? I can tell that anybody who's above, let's say, 60 years of age in Nigeria, who is a university graduate, must have benefited from the government in the past from free education at one level or the other. So by these ones that you have now, I call them touts who find themselves in the corridor of power. How would they ever, ever, think of, investment in the educational sector when they don't actually know what's in there? Because they now believe that money is power, so money is everything. So after all, they now have the money. Because yes, they didn't go to school. Now they now have the money that they've stolen, through this political what have you. So, and for that, they have been able to employ graduates, even PhDs holders, to be working under them and shouting yes sir, yes sir. While some graduates are even drivers or security guards in some of those companies. So why would they value education? Are you getting the point? So why those soldiers who are misbehaving all around and stuff like that, or police, and most of them also are just school set holders, why some of them who are actually university graduates, they are there, do some maybe administration or administrative jobs. So but because they are not bad, like those thousand illiterates in the force, they just can't educate those people enough to make them serious on how to behave civilly and behave wisely, especially when it comes to, the issue of police being what they should be as far as, peace and security is concerned in the society, and their relationship with the civilians. So once they are putting on that uniform, they see themselves as being above everyone else and being above the law and everything else. The same thing applies to the soldiers. The same thing applies to the custom. Even the same thing applies to even the ordinary security guard. They have made the uniform so popular that once you are putting on that uniform, you feel like you are above everything else. So that is the kind of life we're made to believe, or the kind of lies we're made to believe. All this why. So my take on this is that this should be a wake-up call for Nigerians, and for everyone else to know that there's no place like home. There's nothing like your own country and having your own place and your own country. Doing your own thing, doing their own things for you, and for you looking for something that you can get back home and you get it there. Some Nigerians are not sending their children even to some other West African countries to go and study because of the strikes in the secondary schools, etc. So this thing is not a joke anymore. So for those who are angry, they should dish out that anger on the government of the day, so that the government too will feed the anger. Not by coming online and be writing all kinds of trash. Like the UK have done you something. The UK care about their countries. You too care about yours. So let me just do some videos on this and maybe read some of these newspapers.
Hello everyone and welcome to your Global Business Report. I am Busin Amafai. We're live to you from Lagos, Nigeria's financial markets capital. Let's look at stories making the headlines. Of course, we got Nigeria's GDP between 2015 and the end of 2022. A total of 128,770 Nigerian students were enrolled in British universities in the quest of a better education and quality of life, according to a study of data obtained from the UK's Higher Education Statistics Agency. As Nigerians attempt to flee the horrors of poor governance and the disruption of academic activities by tertiary institutions-based unions like the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, amongst others, the number of Nigerian students have increased over time. Meanwhile, Nigerians and other overseas students are no longer allowed to bring their family with them to the UK to attend school, with exceptions made recently by the UK government. This was an attempt to limit immigration, noting that unless they were enrolled in postgraduate programs that are now categorized as research programs, these students would no longer be permitted to bring dependents with them. In order to prevent misuse of the visa system, the UK government said that it has also made it impossible for international students to transition from the student route to the work route before finishing their studies. And I'm being joined live here in our studios by the social entrepreneur and CEO of Teach for Nigeria, Folawo Mikule. She's joining me now for this discussion. Good morning.
Good morning.
Education is key to
Absolutely.
everything. So this is something about, tell me a little bit about Teach for Nigeria.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me. Teach for Nigeria is a non-profit organization that is focused on addressing educational inequity. And we approach educational inequity in a very interesting and unique way, where we recruit fresh graduates, fresh Nigerian graduates, young professionals, top talented young professionals, who we train and place to teach in underserved schools, in primary schools and secondary schools across Nigeria. We've been doing this since 2017, and we've recorded tremendous impact across learning outcomes for the students and that we're teaching, but also even for the graduates who we're recruiting, who are starting to find their passion and their interest in education. So this is what Teach for Nigeria really is about.
But do you think between 2017 and now, the syndrome of the JAPA, which is the local parlance for leaving Nigeria to go abroad because of the socio-economic situation and security of the country, is it beginning to make a dent in the country's educational system and impacting both students and academic institutions?
Unfortunately, absolutely. We have seen and recorded negative impact across academic institutions. And not just speaking about Teach for Nigeria, but the work that I do has also exposed me to engaging with institutions, with academicians, with schools, whereby everybody literally is affected by the teachers who are leaving on a day-to-day basis. We have teachers who are leaving in the middle of a term. We have teachers who are leaving in the middle of a semester, who are also, affected by the JAPA crisis, who are leaving not because they don't love the students that they're working with, but the environment and the society in which they're operating in is just not serving them. So it's really impacting on just the quality of individuals, even for the system. Private institutions, private schools are all complaining about the exit and the exodus of quality talent and teachers. And so they're having to constantly recruit and just retain. But imagine the intellectual loss that we're having to battle with. Imagine a teacher that has been teaching in a school for 20 years who has suddenly just up and left the school. How do you retain that knowledge? How do you retain that skill? How do you close the gap? So a lot of schools are struggling. Some schools are shutting down, I must say. A lot of private schools are closing down because they're no longer able to afford keeping teachers and even just, have...
Up until the current JAPA over the last 1, 2, 3 years, hitherto, the quality of Nigeria's educational system has been in doubt, globally speaking, in terms of whether the developed economies accept our certificates and other degrees that we churn out. Do you think the current situation will make worse what's already a bad situation for us?
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about an education system where, first of all, we have an access issue. Bear in mind that since the COVID period and the pandemic, the number of out-of-school children has doubled. So we went from 10.5 million now to over 20 million children who are not currently receiving any education at all. Then you look within the education system and you look at the primary education system and you have primary 6 students who are leaving our primary schools. 60% of them are unable to read and write, whether in the national language, which is English, or in the local language. That in itself is a challenge. Then you look at foundational learning, and a lot of times, research has also shown that if you're able to invest and ensure that children receive quality foundational learning, which is the early childhood education up until the pre-primary level of education, the ability to get a child to understand the basics of reading and writing, is stronger, so that you're not playing catch up when you advance and go through the rest of the levels. But what we have in Nigeria is less than 40% of our population accessing early childhood and pre-primary education. So already there is a challenge. And then when you start to look across board, it was in 2017, I believe, that El Rufai carried out this teacher test for primary school in Kaduna State, where 33,000 teachers were given a primary 4 test to write. And 21,000, almost 22,000, 21,780 failed and couldn't get at least 75% of a grade 4 test. Now, Kaduna State was brave enough and bold enough to share that result, but this is the general state of affairs in the country.
You use that as a poster board.
Exactly.
For
the majority of this. So I'm sharing that just to show some of the issues that the incoming government is going to deal with, and the issues that are facing our education system.
And you're just taking the next question straight out of my mouth in terms of where do we go from here, but more importantly, how?
Great.
Which is more important for me, because again, you've got school teachers, professionals in schools and classrooms live in the country.
Yes.
And you've got students also live in the country.
Yes.
Either way, the ones left are the school owners, by the way, so for private schools and others. So, unfortunately for public schools, they definitely find their way. So, how do you think the incoming administration in the next few days will be or should be able to do as some level of quick wins to stem the tide first, and if possible over time begin to get those who have left back into the country?
Yeah, I wanted to also just mention that the public schools are also having teachers leave, and so it's not just to the private schools. But back to your question, I wish I could say this is the one solution and this is like the great, there's this like silver bullet, because unfortunately there's just no silver bullet. First of all, if we want to seriously transform our education system in a way that delivers for every citizen, but also for the development of this country, we need to make some serious investment and serious commitment to education. In the last 5 years, we've dangled between 6 to 8% of budgetary allocation to our education system.
Is it about money?
Well,
is it about money?
Money is one of it. If we're going to really invest resources, for example, to ensure that foundational learning, is provided across to all young Nigerians and all the children in Nigeria, we need the resources to enable that. If we're going to ensure that the school environment will be upgraded in a way that the right infrastructure, the laboratories, the facilities that would enable the right teaching and learning to happen, exactly.
The water system.
Exactly, in the schools. Thank you very much.
Because schools are communities on their own.
Exactly. So we need the funding. So funding is one, and I'll get to all the different things that needs to happen.
Yes.
We need to really look at the curriculum. The curriculum is outdated. It is not fit for purpose. If we want a curriculum whereby we're developing citizens who are able to think critically, to solve problems, to apply the knowledge that they acquire from the education system.
Right while they're in the classroom.
Exactly. So we need to revamp the curriculum in a way that it delivers education that is applicable. Our the curriculum that we have is focused on knowledge, just cram and pour and just pass. But that cramming and pouring is not what will allow for critical thinking.
We need Ministry of Education.
So I was going to get to that. But before we get to that, we need, no nation can rise above the quality of its teachers. If we cannot, there's no magic we can perform. If we like, let us build schools and fix infrastructure and write great policies and revamp curriculum. If we do not fix the teacher quality, we will not be able to get the quality that we're looking for. We need to attract the right people. We need to attract top talent. We need to be able to retain them and motivate them incentivize them. There's no business.
And regular pay.
Exactly. I see no reason why in Nigeria teachers cannot earn less. I see no reason why they should not earn a minimum of 100,000 naira for an entry-level teacher.
Or subsidized transportation.
Exactly. Teachers are earning in this country less than 30,000 naira, between 30,000 naira to 60,000 naira. The highest paid entry-level teacher by government in this country is less than 70,000 naira. About 68,000 naira, 700 plus.
Average of about 2,000 naira per day.
Exactly. Just imagine. So we need to get serious with ensuring that we figure out a way to recruit, retain, and also incentivize top talent, and attract them to teaching. And then after all of that we've done, we really need to pay attention to vocational education. We cannot continue to just promote university education. There's a role that vocational and technical education plays in a society. Every year we have 1.5, 1.6 million students who are leaving secondary school, who are writing WAEC, and who are waiting to get into a university system that can only carry up until 500,000 students annually. What happens to the remaining 70% or 60+% of students that are left? So we need to really think about how to harness and develop our vocational system of education. Why shouldn't we have people leaving secondary school with skills, leaving secondary school able to start to earn and contribute to the economy?
Qualitative enough to enter the jobs market.
Exactly. And so that needs to be looked at. And then finally, we can have all these fancy ideas and sophisticated vision, but if we do not have the right leadership, and the leadership is not just for the Ministry of Education, but I'm talking leadership for all the agencies and institutions that are supporting or
the educational system.
Exactly. All
the
of
ecosystem.
That entire ecosystem needs to pay attention to the quality of leaders that sit in those positions, because the elected president could have a great vision, but without the right leadership there to drive all of these vision for him, nothing is going to happen.
Interesting rethinking the whole process, but here we have the UK banning Nigerian students and others from bringing their dependents to the UK. What's your first word on that?
Well, it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate.
What is unfortunate?
Yes, it's unfortunate.
Is the ban unfortunate, or that we were going there with all our dependents?
The ban on the international students is unfortunate. I say it's unfortunate because I finished my graduate degree here in Nigeria and had a choice to go.
But the UK doesn't say don't come. They say don't bring all your dependents.
Yes, don't bring all your dependents. But then when you think about education and you think about traveling all the way to the United Kingdom, there are people who definitely might not be able to go and get an education without having their dependents. It will be too distracting for them to live for 1 year and not have their children with them, or even perhaps their spouses. For me, really, I don't think that a blanket sort of ban on all master's degree students who want to take their dependents to the UK is the way to go, or is the approach. But I think it's really developing some administrative system to scrutinize genuine students who are going there with their dependents to go and actually study and gain from global education that will contribute to their own development. I think that is one. I think the second one also might be really, because one of the concerns has been that, the pressure on, on the country on taking from like their own benefits and their own resources and what have you. How are you ensuring that you scrutinize to make sure that this person has the funding, the necessary funding to take care of their dependents for that 1 year period, so that they wouldn't have to rely on funding from the UK government? And then also, how do you ensure, because at the end of the day, if you're making 43+ billion pounds annually from student fees and tuition, I don't know why you would want to cut that, by just having Nigerians or international students, not continue to access that education. And so again, do you want to look at another level of, are the spouses that are coming in with this student, are they skilled? Because that also then contributes to your own economy. So I think instead of just a blanket ban throughout, for master's degree students who want to bring their dependents, how about you consider some other administrative ways to really check and scrutinize, for genuine students, for those who have resources to be able to fend for their families and dependents while they're there, and also checking, prioritizing skilled spouses who might be getting there and then contributing to your economy as well. So that is how I would have approached it. Because the truth of the matter is, the UK banning Nigerian or international students from not coming with their dependents to school in the UK, they'll go elsewhere. There might be a slowdown, between the next 1 or 2 years, but they will find somewhere else where they can go and receive this type of education.
So that's the point. The point is that you ban Nigerian students from coming to the UK with their dependents and whatever. At the end of the day, it's always going to be a way, to go about this whole thing. Although they are not banning Nigerian students from coming in, they are banning them from bringing in their dependents. So most people rely, or let's say, rely on the support of their family members or peers, to be able to, you know, that's move on with their education or try to prepare, themselves into the next level as far as education is concerned. So these are very, very important things. So it's not only Nigerians that are bringing their dependence to the UK. So, but if UK now says that the Nigerian students, are set aside or cycle out of this whole group because the Indians are doing it, So, but now from from the this that you just brought out, they brought it out by saying that Nigerian students dominated all of the whatever and things like that, more than even the Indian students. So I don't know how truthful that is, So, but like we know the government that is there right now, so it can be sympathetic to, to their own people and trying to limit because everywhere the black man goes, the black man is always a problem, to them. So I think it's high time that the black man wake up also and knows that nobody wants you, nobody wants to see you, and nobody loves you. So try to love yourself, try to love your country, and try to develop your country, and try to stay in your country. Then that's how they will respect you the more. Because if you are just training yourself all around and stuff like that, train yourself all over the floor everywhere you go by pleading or accept me, even with your money. Now they say, okay, you and your money, you can go to hell. That's exactly what they are telling you indirectly, you know. So because at the point they are just scared that the black population of an intellectuals or intellectual bunch, that is coming all the way from Nigeria into the UK and stuff, might maybe at a point in time dominate, a particular, a particular sector. So that is it because the when the US came up with the research that they do about Nigerian students the other time when they said Nigerian students or Nigerians are the most how did they put it, the most that Nigerians are the highest numbers they have the highest numbers of students in the US among all other foreigners combined. That is among the Indians, among the Chinese, you know. I'm talking about all this population of billions and stuff, you know, that Nigerian population, as far as the students and whatever this thing is concerned, was so high to the extent that they start to see the value that Nigerians attach, to quality educations and stuff. So for that, they try to make things much more easier by trying to relax their student visas, the rules on their student visas, in order to allow more students from Nigeria to come in. So, but it's not like they are doing these things for Nigerians for free. That is one thing you have to know. So, some families are doing everything possible just to make sure that their children study abroad so that their children can come and take care of other children, or other family members and things like that, so that they'll be able to, at least in the future, be able to help themselves as well. So all these things, it's not new. It's not new because ever since I was a child, I know that because I have cousins who studied, abroad in the US and every other place, So it's not a new thing at all. Not I have a lot, not even five, a whole lot of them. They studied abroad, they studied in US, they studied in all kinds of foreign universities, etc., or in UK, etc. Even some never even came back. They stayed there and some died there after having their children and stuff like that. Their children are staying in the UK. So that is it. It has been like that. So, but what I'm trying to say here is that if they are not saying that Nigeria should not come in with their dependence, which means other people from other nations or other countries are of course allowed to bring in their dependence, but Nigerians should not be bringing in. The Nigerian students can come in, but they should not bring in their family members or their dependents. So what that means is that if a Nigerian should come, a young man should leave Nigeria and come home and leave his wife and children at home, maybe with one child, young couple for example, or two children, and he come to the UK. So the possibility of that person, you know, getting married to a UK citizen or getting married to another foreigner in the UK, and therefore settling down in the UK and forgetting about his relationship with the wife and the children that he has in Africa. You know, the possibility is there. It's much more broader. So I think that is what they are trying to encourage, because these people, they are coming up with all kinds of rubbish to try to, because they don't like to see black people with their with family. They hate it. They don't like to see a black person, married to a black person, living their society. Rather, they like to see a black person, who is single and stuff like that. Black women single, black men single, single mother, single father, walking around and stuff like that. So, but when you come in with that your African mentality of trying to, set up a family and have that family orientation, what have you and stuff like that, they hate it. They just don't like it. So it has happened over and over again. So a lot of people don't know these things, but those that know what I'm talking about right now. You understand? They know what I'm talking about right now. When you say you have a wife, they see that your wife is from, is your wife from the same country as you? You say yes. They don't like that. What they would like is that your wife is from their own country, or your wife is from their own continent, etc. Because that means that your money will not be going to Africa, or your money that you are making will not be going home anytime soon. That your money will stay in Europe. The same thing applies to your knowledge. So imagine if you're a scientist and things like that, why they'll be misusing you and kicking you left and right with their racism and stuff like that, then they still want to retain you here and make you and turn you to a nobody, even if you're a professor or a top professor in one of their universities. Where you're supposed to be having honors upon honors if you're to be living in your own country, and doing something for your own country, and knowing that that wisdom that you are passing on will stay there. And that wisdom also will befit another wisdom, etc., etc. We multiply. So they wouldn't want that. So they want you to, even if you have all the knowledge, if they can extract it from your head and they extract it from your head, etc., then they want that wisdom to die with you so that wisdom will not go to Africa anytime soon. To the time they want you to go to Africa is when you are ready to, when you are tired and weak, when you can no longer contribute much. Then you go to Africa, then you become a liability to yourself and even to the society. That is the way they want it. So that is why they are coming up with this kind of this thing. So to me, all this is not new. So those who are analyzing from an intellectual point of view, they are just analyzing because they don't know what is in there. So what is there is the fact that I've just said now. It's another plot to make sure that you don't multiply. You don't multiply that wisdom. You don't take that wisdom back home. That wisdom should come with you and die here, while your wife and children are back home. Then if you send £100 home in once in a month, then you feel like you've done something. Why? If they were here with you, you will have been spending more and taking care of them. Why they will have quality education as well. So now they wanted to still stay there back home and have that low class kind of education or whatever kind of poor education that they should be having there, while you are here enjoying yourself. And so people should wake up. So let me just let him speak a little further, then we take it from there again. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do so. Welcome to Nigeria Matters. Nigeria Matters is where you are right now. So thank you for coming. Give us a thumbs up. Spread this video. Let it go viral. Let everyone see it and get the wisdom behind this whole thing. It's not about talking about the surface of issues without us actually digging on what is actually happening. So this is what is happening. What is happening is that they don't want you to pass that knowledge on, multiply that knowledge that you are gaining. They forgot that you already have some basic knowledge before leaving Africa, that you already have, your BA, your BSc, and even your master's degree, even before coming to Europe here. Sometimes they are surprised. Like when you say, oh, you went to university, they are like, because they are not thinking like, what kind of university? Universities of mango climbing or what, So they wouldn't mind thinking that your university level can be compared to even their primary school level. and stuff. So it's when they start to see the intellectual, what have you, brouhaha. That's when they have to know that, hey, yes, this guy is not just, you know, he's not just talking. He's talking because he knows. So that is it. So ladies and gentlemen, take this thing and take it seriously. This is the actual thing that is behind this whole thing. So if you can study in Africa, if you can study at home, if you can study in any other country in Africa where you don't have any limitation, I think it should be much much more advisable. So I don't care whether it's any mushroom country or whatever, where at least where the educational system is allowed to flow. You know, because in Nigeria they are always disrupting this whole thing. I don't know what they are gaining from it because they are bringing, those Nama escorts to come and become a minister of education. To the extent that even up to now there's no history. They remove history from Nigeria's school curriculum, all because of fear of the crime that they committed. On how they came to Nigeria and they slaughtered people and stuff like that, to some of their lands and stuff. They just think they can blindfold everyone so that the children of these days will not know what happened. They will know. They will hear it from us because we learn history when we were in school. And apart from that, also they can also dig out the whole listing. There are history books that they can also read. And apart from that, they can also go to internet these days and get the actual facts. So that is it. So these are the kind of people they are bringing in, to disrupt a section of the country from getting quality education, which they've been known for. And now, all of a sudden, then now, UK and their dependent visa and stuff like that, who knows? If they are using their long leg also to fine tune the UK and tell them, hey, the people that are coming to your country to study, they are not from us. So these people, they are so people. They are the indigenous people. Definitely, you are giving them more knowledge. Definitely, one of these days, they will raise an army of intellectuals to take over your country. So nobody knows what their reasons are or what their reasons are for doing all this whole thing. But my own say is that the country should wake up and at least do something for its own children, or let the people wake up themselves and shake off all these leaders, from the tree of knowledge. Shake their fruit down, and crush them out of that fruit of knowledge, so that the fruit of knowledge will you know, bring forth, fresh fruits. So that's what I will say for now. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give us a thumbs up, share our videos, and let it go viral. And let's move forward with this video. Thank you. Thank you for coming to Nigeria Matters. See you soon.
That they want, and they would take their dependents with them, and they will contribute to the economy of that other country. If there's anything, this is Nigerians always find a way.
I've heard through the grapevine that there's something going on, which will make Nigerian professionals abroad be able to teach Nigerians in schools back at home here as part of their contributing to the development of the country and the education system, and they can do that for free. Could be an online thing. I heard is being worked out by the NUC and the Minister of Education. Perhaps that could go into law, into effect, in which if you're a medical doctor or a physician in the US or the Americas, you can teach medical students in Nigeria virtually back here, both in public and private schools, for free at your spare time, where you are sitting over there in Canada or in Australia.
That is a brilliant idea. One of the things that I say to people is the pandemic period, and that year, 2020, was a year of innovation, a year of showing us possibilities. And we saw a lot that could happen through technology, through remote learning. We saw the fact that learning could take place beyond the four walls of a classroom. And if there's anything that a country like Nigeria needs to tap into, it's opportunities like that. How do we tap into our talent across the world to continue to contribute to the development of our own people and of our nation? My own thing will be, I hope it would be well structured in a way that it will be fully embedded into the curriculum, into the pedagogy of whatever it is that is happening, because it's a brilliant idea, but I think the implementation is where the challenge might be. So finding ways to leverage technology to tap into the knowledge, the insight, the experiences of Nigerians who are outside the shore of this country.
Millions of
and
us.
there are millions of them.
Across every sphere of life, from science to tech to everything else in between, arts, literature, everything you can think about.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it could just be part of their own giving back to the country.
Absolutely. It could really be a brilliant piece that could, transform. Yeah, absolutely.
A game changer.
Yes.
Yeah, because again, you can't really quantify what Nigerian professionals are sitting out there, and they have spare times, an hour a day, 30 minutes here, a couple of hours a week, and virtually learning and teaching folks, young ones in the universities and down to colleges and all the secondary schools in Nigeria is going to be amazing.
Incredible.
Perhaps that's going to be that bridge between Nigeria and the diaspora in terms of real education and maybe job opportunities, a whole lot of things could follow.
Couldn't agree more with you. When I think about, states of emergencies where education is not happening as it should, there are states in Nigeria where schools haven't been open in 10 years in certain communities. When I think about the innovation that you've just talked about with having Nigerians in the diaspora who are teaching virtually at their free time, remotely, whether through, laptops or whether through television, whether through radio, I mean, we'll figure out all the different channels where this education could be, delivered. I think that could also be, like, we could tap into that for those communities across Nigeria, particularly in the northern region, where we're experiencing some of these challenges. So I think...
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming by. So, like I've said before, if what this man was just trying to say just now is anything to go by, that Nigerian professionals abroad, and from top universities and etc. professionals, can have a platform where they teaches Nigerian students back home for free. That would just be another great thing, because I was just talking just now without even knowing, that this was this was going to come up, because I never even, actually run the clips down before this thing. So, which means those people are also thinking they are in sync with what I was saying, that they were trying to deprive our people of the knowledge that those people are getting, back here in Europe or in America and stuff like that. So that was the reason why they were trying to pass this ban, because it doesn't really make sense. So now that something like this has been talked about, or maybe it's in the offing, so let's hope that they follow it up, and polish it, up to that level in which people will actually feel very comfortable, in the comfort of their own, their own home, then log into their computers and be able to access any knowledge from those wise ones who has already got the same knowledge as well, from various institutions. So now that things like this are in the offing, and if it's free of charge, that will also encourage a lot of people, to be able to, to subscribe, to those programs and be able to follow them up, because these days, like, there's nothing actually so difficult to do, because every information you need this time around is on the computers. So if you really want to teach yourself something, there are so many things you can teach yourself. But the thing is that even in Africa, for these things to be sustainable, you also need a very good internet system, and it has to be available. Also, it has to be affordable, so that people will be able to, to subscribe to these things and use this thing without, without spending much. So this thing should be subsidized by the government. That should be the case, because internet in Nigeria is just too expensive. Too expensive. All this data, this, data, that. Sometimes when I call home and I be told that, oh, because I watch video, my data, I just ran out and stuff like that. I'm like, what? It's not like maybe you just charge your data now for maybe for 10 euros, and you know that thing is going to take you, for the whole month, etc. So, but whatever it is, let the incoming government do something about it. So I don't know about this one that they are talking about, but we just hope that the best person that will be good for Nigeria, somebody who value education, somebody who value quality of life, and value healthcare, and value good infrastructures. A civilized person. That kind of a person is the person that will actually rule Nigeria. For the next, 4 years and 8 years, and from there on, you know, from there on. Because if we have intelligent people to run Nigeria for 16 years, intelligent people, I mean, a graduate actually, not somebody just went to some Akara school, then found himself with money and stuff like that, or some Agbero. No, someone who really have some quality education, who really went through the system, somebody that know the value of education. If that kind of person actually run Nigeria for 16, 20 years, Nigeria will never be the same again. Just imagine when Goodluck Jonathan left. If somebody like that has continued till now, Nigeria would have been somewhere else. Obasanjo never went to university, but yet he was able to do something. But to show you that he loved education, even when he left office, he went back to school. He went back to school, open university. That's to tell you that he at least have some attachment to knowledge. That he value knowledge, he value education, he value quality of quality of life. Those are the kind of people we need, not the people that value cows, and cattle than humans. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, put that in your head, put that in your ear, apply whenever it's necessary. Always. So, that is what we wish for our country. Good person. When I mean good person, I mean good person. Someone who cares about the people. Who are you if you really have everything and yet all the people around you and stuff like that have nothing? Then you are nobody. You're a governor. You don't have good roads to your village. You don't have good roads to anywhere. Within your own community. Whenever it rains, you are swimming inside the mud and stuff like that with your jeep and things like that. How do you feel? Do you feel good? When it's dark, then your whole place is dark. Only your compound is listed up. How do you feel? You feel proud? It's only a fool that will feel like that. Only an asshole. If you're a local government chairman, the same thing applies to you. You have borehole in your compound, you have light in your compound, generator is running, disturbing the rest of the neighbors, with the noise of the gen and stuff like that. Ordinary solar panels, you can't even think about it. You can't run the community together and say, come, let's do things like this. Let's put some solar system, somewhere. Even if it's not all over the whole place, at least the city center or the village center or the local government center and stuff like that. Do something so that you'll be remembered of something. Because all those money you are just amassing to yourself. For example, at the time you leave office, if you don't have a very good environment to live in, or that your investments are and stuff like that, even at your old age, if you build the house in the village and stuff like that, you find it difficult to even to move around with your wheelchair. If you're on wheelchair, even if you're not on wheelchair, you have to move with a walking stick and stuff like that. Then if the roads are not good and stuff, how do you do that? Think, people, think. That's all we can take for today. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for dropping in and coming to Nigeria Matters. So, thank you very much. Give us a thumbs up, please. Share our videos, post your comment, let us know what we have to improve on. So we'll be happy to get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you and God bless you. See you.